I'm Sean.
And I'm Jacob.
And you're watching the Wakend Update. Hey guys, welcome to the Wakend Update and happy 4th of July weekend. Jacob, I gotta say, I'm kind of got a 4th of July vibe going on here. There's even flags on my shorts, and you do not look the part.
That's fair. Sean, there's a lot more holidays I think I'm a bigger fan of, if I'm being honest.
Name 5.
Christmas.
Just kidding. Surely, there's some parts of 4th of July you like. Man, what about 4th of July food?
You know, I guess I like hot dogs and the steaming hot grill and just a fresh hot dog, perfectly charred, just placed in the nice crisp bun, put some cheese on it, some chili cheese on it, and then you just pick that up and sink your chops in it. You know what? I think I do like that.
Yeah. What about the parades?
Ooh, the parades. You know, you got the whole town coming out, the whole neighborhood that comes out, the fire trucks, all the people lining the street, throwing candy, and the smile on the kids' faces.
Yeah.
Come to think about it, you know, I really like that.
What about a pool party, you know?
Ooh, I love a good pool party. And you know what? Come to think of it, July in Texas, pretty hot.
Huh.
And so to get in a nice, cool, refreshing pool with all of your friends, hanging out, having a little fun. And you know what I really love?
Huh.
Pool basketball. I love it. You know why? Because I just and we're just hanging out, having a good time. It's the best in the world. I love it. There's no greater day to get in the pool and to dunk on your friends in the 4th of July. You know what? I do like that.
Yeah.
I love pool parties.
Wow, you are really getting into this. Yeah, so I think you definitely like 4th of July more than you think you do. Let me just ask you one more. What about fireworks?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what? I've been to a couple fireworks shows in my life on the 4th of July.
I hope so.
And to be honest, there's no greater fireworks show. I mean, that's what the 4th of July is known for. You're sitting there in the back of the bed of your truck, watching the explosions in the sky, and as you do it, it's almost like you begin to just cry, just tears of red and blue, and then you've got the grand finale and just explosions and explosions. You can't even hear yourself think. It's amazing. And you know what? I take it back. I love the 4th of July. So yeah, I guess I do love it.
Okay, you go cool down. And we are going to take on another question in our series, Asking for a Friend. So check it out.
Hey guys, today we're going to answer the question, how do I know God really exists? This is a great question, and honestly, it's one that everybody asks and should ask, because here's the reality. If God doesn't exist, then nothing else really matters. But if God does exist, nothing matters more. And so this is an important question for us to ask and answer, and so we're going to address it today. We're going to talk about 4 things that help us to know that God really exists. First, we're going to talk about design. The reality is every design points to a designer. Like if you see a great piece of artwork, it points to the artist who made that artwork. And the same is true for the design that is around us in our world. It points us to the reality that there is a designer who created it all. And we know that because in Romans 1, verse 20, Paul says this: "For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world and the things that have been made, so they are without excuse." And likewise, in Psalm 19 verse 1, the psalmist says this: "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky above proclaims his handiwork." And so I want you to seriously consider the world that is around us and consider the complexities by which it is made and formed. Think about it. From the magnitude of the stars in the heavens, in our entire galaxy, in our universe, down to the very nature of your cells that make up your body. Like, literally think about it. As you're watching this video, you're not even thinking about the reality that your heart is pumping and pushing blood all throughout your body so that you can breathe and live. The reason for that is because God has designed our bodies and our life and our entire world in such a way that life is able to actually happen. The next thing that we should consider is desire. Ecclesiastes 3:11 tells us, He has put eternity into man's heart. Here's the reality. Every one of our hearts has an eternal void that can only be satisfied by an eternal God. Here's what I mean, is that think about that time where you wanted to win that championship game so badly, and you put in so much time and effort and energy to do it, and then you won. And then a couple days later, guess what? You were on to the next thing. It didn't leave you satisfied. Fill in the blank for whatever that looks like for you, whether it's fitting into that friend group or making that grade or whatever it might be. You know that once you have attained that thing, it is temporary. It does not last because our desires can only be satisfied by an eternal God. But what does that really mean? One guy put it this way: if we find ourselves with a desire that nothing in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that we were made for another world. And that world isn't Mars, it's not Pluto, it's not Asgard, it's not Tatooine, if that's even how you say that, and it's not the planet that the Monstars were from Space Jam. That world, that other world that we were created for, is eternity spent in perfection with God Himself. And so our desires and their inability to be satisfied by this world points us to the reality that there is an ultimate desire that can only be fulfilled by God Himself. Next, we must consider cause and effect. What I mean by that is that everything had to have an origin. All of this had to come from something. Otherwise, we're led to believe that time plus chance plus nothing equals everything, which makes just about 0 sense. And so what we know from Genesis 1 is that everything had a beginning. And we know that in the beginning, Genesis 1:1 tells us that God created the heavens and the earth. So I would propose to you that it takes more faith to believe that all of this just randomly happened the way it did than it does to believe that there is a God in heaven who formed you, who knows you, and who loves you. Lastly, we must consider conscience. We all inherently know right versus wrong, good versus bad. The reason that we know that is because Paul tells us in Romans 2 verses 15 and 16, they show that the work of the law is written on their hearts, while their conscience also bears witness, and their conflicting thoughts accuse or even excuse them on that day when, according to my gospel, God judges the secrets of men by Christ Jesus. He's saying that you automatically know right versus wrong. Like, think about it. That time whenever you were a little kid and you went into the pantry and you opened it up real quietly and reached your hand up into the cookie jar without mama's permission, you knew that that was not right. The reason that that is true is because there is an ultimate authority, aka God, who has defined what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is bad. And because we automatically know that, it proves that God has written His law upon our hearts, and therefore all of that points to the reality and truth of God's existence. So how do we know that God really exists? We consider 4 things: design, desire, cause and effect, and conscience. So here's the question that I want to leave you with. If God really exists, and He has formed you, and He knows you, and He loves you enough to send His own Son to die for you, are you ready and are you willing to surrender your life to follow Him?
Hey guys, thanks for checking out the Wakend update. Do me a favor, hover that arrow over the subscribe button and give it just a little gentle click right there. And then you will always receive notifications when Watermark Students releases our latest content. Please pardon my friend Jacob today for you got a little out of hand with your 4th of July stuff.
You know, Sean, what can I say? Once I figure out I really love something, something just comes over me.
It sure does. Well, guys, wait, what the heck? What's going on? I don't want this on me. Get this off of me. What was that?
I don't know. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, make sure. What? Stop! Stop it! Oh my gosh, what is happening?
I guess you just really love Spider-Man.
Not that much.
Well, I love the 4th of July, and here's what we got.
Look, guys, just have a great week of worship. Wow. I give up. Have a great 4th of July, guys.
No. Have a great 4th of July!